we cannot go forward with this case. Even if the court were to find that the sheriff's office acted within Mr. Marvelstone's constitutional rights, I don't have any evidence.
Frankly, the testimony that I have received is that the people who know where that evidence is are also people who are charged with crimes.
My name is Robbie Martinez. I'm employed with Castillo County Sheriff's Office.
Were you employed with the sheriff's office at the end of last year, end of 2025?
Yes, I was.
Do you recall an event in September where I believe the DA's office came and obtained possession of items at the sheriff's office?
Yes. They took possession of all the evidence within the Castillo County Sheriff's Office.
For every case handled for the sheriff's office, is that correct?
Correct.
Do you know why?
I can't testify as to exactly why. I just know there was some evidence issues with the sheriff's office. So
Can you tell us what this page is?
Castillo County Sheriff's Office Property Evidence Report,
And do we see a date on this page?
October 13th, 2025. Wait, hang on. Sorry. That's the date the evidence was transferred. I do not see a date.
So we don't know what date this evidence was collected.
No.
Do we know what date do we know what case that this evidence is collected for?
No.
What happened with all of the evidence on this page? Was
This evidence was transferred to the DA's office on October 13th.
Did you transport this to the DA's office?
I did.
Okay. The evidence that you indicated that you transported to the DA's office, was that your job specifically to transport it?
So there was an agreement between, at the time when the DA's office had came and taken the evidence and collected it all, there was kind of a trying to work out a way to get evidence to the DA's office with the agreement that was made between the DA's office and the sheriff's office. I know there was an agreement at first for the DA to come collect it. Being that I lived in Alamosa, it was easier for me just to transport it to the DA's office on my way home, so I would transport it.
Is there any evidence that was transported that we have not reviewed here?
No.
Did you ever see, handle, or transport any evidence for the Marblestone case?
No.
Nothing further at this time, Judge. Thanks.
Mr. Hook, any questions?
So you weren't present on November 11th, 2025 when the search warrant was served?
I was not.
Okay. I don't have any further questions.
My legal name is Michael Finn. I go by Mickey. I'm currently employed as an investigator at the District Attorney's Office in Alamosa. I collected evidence from Castillo County one time from Deputy Martinez.
Do you recall the case that you received it from?
I do not.
At any point in time, did you receive any evidence from anyone from the sheriff's office regarding the Marblestone case?
I have not.
Nothing further, Judge.
Questions, Mr. Hook?
No.
Yes, sir. It's Amber Garcia. I'm an investigator with the DA's office.
Have you received any evidence from the Castillo County Sheriff's Office in the time that you've been employed with the DA's office?
Yes.
Do you recall the case that you received it for?
No, I think there was a culmination of cases that were dropped off.
So you received evidence on more than one occasion?
And just one time, but multiple cases, I believe. I don't recall what specific cases.
Do you recall receiving any evidence for the Marblestone case?
No, sir.
Nothing for this witness, Judge.
Any questions, Mr. Hook?
No.
Okay.
It's Michael Martinez. I'm currently employed with the 12th Judicial District Attorney's Office.
Were you present whenever CBI seized the evidence from the Castillo County Sheriff's Office?
Yes, I was.
And to your knowledge, was this the last evidence transfer that the DA's office received?
Yes.
To your knowledge, do you know if the DA's office ever received any evidence from the Marblestone case?
Not that I have seen.
I have no further questions at this time, Judge.
Any questions, Mr. Hook?
Briefly. So, Mr. Martinez, I want to ask you sort of a related question. Since multiple members of Castillo Sheriff's Office were indicted, you've been involved with Castillo Sheriff's Office, basically helping with the transition, right?
For the first couple of weeks, I was helping them do some things, but since then, no.
During your time in the transition period after the indictments, had you been able to access Castillo County Sheriff's Department Axon servers?
Yes.
Did you look through the Axon servers basically to see if you could find body worn camera from different ongoing cases that the district attorney's office had open?
Yes.
Did you look for body worn cameras specifically for Mr. Marblestone's case?
Yes.
Were you able to find any?
I was able to find, I think it was 1 or 2 videos that had not been sent to our office.
And did you disclose those to the district attorney's office, obviously, right?
I disclosed those to Deputy District Attorney John Zachary, yes.
Okay. I don't have any further questions.
When did you do that?
Today,
Do you recall when today we did this, or you did this? I'm sorry.
probably 10 a.m., maybe 11.
And do you recall what you found?
What I found were 2 videos from the days that I was asked to narrow the search down, which were related to the Marblestone investigation. I found that those videos had not been shared with our office because they hadn't been labeled as being assigned to the case.
Nothing further, Judge. Thank you.
I'll give you time for some recross if you have any.
Yes. So I was missing that, I think, as part of the conversation. You found 2 new videos in this case today, this morning.
Yes.
All right. I don't have any further questions.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Martinez, you may sit down. Okay, now do you want to call Mr. Soto?
And Your Honor, may I make a record when the court's ready?
No, your client is not a party to this case, so you can certainly observe as was requested, but your client is not a party to this case and you are not counsel of record. Mr. Soto, if you'll raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm that the information you give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. Mr. Soto, I'm going to advise you that while this case is unrelated to the charges currently pending against you, you do have a right to not incriminate yourself. So if you are asked any questions that would incriminate you, you do have a right to plead the fifth, and that will be respected. Your attorney has been allowed to observe, sort of advise you on those sorts of things, but you do not have to answer any questions that might incriminate you or might cause negative consequences to the case that is pending against you. Okay?
Okay.
And Mr. Cruz, I am advising you to assert your Fifth Amendment rights.
Go ahead.
Can you please state your full name and spell your last name for the record, please?
Yeah, Cruz Soto, Cruzsoto.
Are you currently employed, Mr. Soto?
I'm currently on admin leave. Correct.
From where?
Castillo County Sheriff's Office.
Do you recall when you were employed by the Castillo County Sheriff's Office?
Back since 2010.
For the last 6 months of 2025, you were employed with the Sheriff's Office.
Correct.
What was your position or title when you were employed with the Sheriff's Office?
I held different titles, but most currently I was the Undersheriff.
So for the last 6 months of 2025, you were the Undersheriff?
Correct.
Do you recall the incident in September where the DA's office, along with CBI, came in and took possession of evidence that was in the evidence room at the Sheriff's Office?
Yes, I
Mr.
recall.
Cruz, again,
the
I'm
evidence
advising you to
transfer.
take the Fifth.
After that evidence was seized, moving forward, is it safe to say that the evidence room at the Sheriff's Office was empty?
I didn't deal with the evidence,
Who dealt with the evidence for the Sheriff's Office?
so after the evidence transfer, it would have been the evidence tech or anybody submitting evidence.
Do you recall who's the evidence tech for the Sheriff's Office? What was the name?
Monique Trio was the evidence tech.
Do you know when she started as the evidence tech?
I don't recall off the top of my head.
Do you know how long she was employed with the Sheriff's Office?
Not exactly how long, no.
As the Undersheriff, are you not in charge of the deputies underneath your command?
She worked in the
Mr.
jail.
Cruz, I'm advising you to assert your Fifth Amendment rights.
When evidence was collected by the deputies for the Sheriff's Office, is it Sheriff's Office policy to have evidence brought back to the evidence room and logged into evidence?
Your Honor, I do have a question. I just don't feel comfortable answering these questions when I've been told that there's possible coming charges or there could be other indictments coming based on evidence and stuff. So I don't feel comfortable answering any of this.
Okay. I will take that as an assertion of your right to remain silent.
Judge, I'm going to ask the court to instruct him in order to answer the questions.
But Mr. Soto is charged with official misconduct for cases that already happened. And so he has a concern that depending on his answers, he could further be charged with crimes, including official misconduct, for which he certainly has a right to plead the fifth.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So I just want to make sure that I'm clear. you were still the undersheriff when the Marblestone case was being investigated within your department. Is that correct? Roughly beginning of November, first 2 weeks of November, you were still undersheriff then?
Like I said, I just don't feel comfortable answering.
Well, that,
I mean,
that's not
It's a
something
yes or
that
no
can
question.
incriminate you, sir.
Yeah.
You either were or you were not.
I was the undersheriff.
Were you aware of any evidence that was collected for that case?
No,
You also heard testimony earlier that evidence was transferred from the sheriff's office to the DA's office. Were you aware of that agreement?
that appeared to be an agreement between Robbie and Michael.
Was Robbie the evidence technician?
No,
Do you know if there's any other place other than the sheriff's office, evidence room, evidence would have been stored?
no,
Do you know why evidence transfer from the sheriff's office to the DA's office stopped?
no.
I would advise you not to answer that question.
With regards to the evidence technician within the Castillo County Sheriff's Office, you indicated that was Monique Trujillo, is that correct?
Correct.
Were you, during your time with the sheriff's office or now, ever in an intimate relationship with Ms. Trujillo?
Once again.
Don't answer that question, Mr. Soto.
Because that has no bearing on charges or this case. I would ask the court to order him to answer the question.
Answer the question.
Yes.
Nothing further, Judge. Thank you.
Any cross, Mr. Rob?
Briefly, were you present for the search of Mr. Marblestone's trailer or his property on November 11th, 2025?
I was not.
Were you on duty that day?
Tuesday. If it was during the day, then most likely I would have been.
Do you remember any communications from your deputies regarding the search of Mr. Marblestone's property?
Not off the top of my head.
Do you recall any items being brought back by your deputies on that day?
Once again, not that I recall.
Okay. I don't have any further questions.
Monique Trujillo, are you employed right now, Ms. Trujillo?
No.
Were you employed in November of 2025?
Yes.
What was your position at that time?
Jail administrator.
Okay. Were you also the evidence technician?
I was.
Would it be fair to say that after CBI came and took all the evidence out of the sheriff's office and transported it to the DA's office, that's when that kind of started?
I did not take that role on until after there was a little bit more settled and I understood a little bit more of the process because I was still in training at the time.
That would have been in place in November, correct?
It could have been.
You said that the process continued to March of 2026. Is that your testimony?
Yes.
What evidence was transferred to the DA's office in March of 2026?
I never transferred anything.
Do you know that whether or not evidence, do you claim that evidence was transferred to the DA's office?
In March? No, there was not.
What about February?
I think the last transfer was done when Robbie left he left in January, but the last time I remember him taking evidence was in November.
Why did it stop?
I'm not sure.
Would Undersheriff Cruz Soto know the reason why it stopped?
I'd rather not speak to that. He was not my supervisor.
And you're telling the court and us that you don't have any idea why that process stopped?
Robbie was in charge of moving it. I prepared it. I did the paperwork and he was in charge of moving.
Okay. So to be clear, no paperwork was done for evidence to be transferred after what you said in November of 2020.
No, it was always prepared and ready to go. From the time Robbie Martinez left until I left, it was because I refused to move it myself and we were working to get Joe Smith to be the one to do so.
So at the January, February, March, there was actually evidence to be transferred. Is that your testimony?
Yes.
Okay. And what, do you remember how much evidence?
It's pretty substantial. There were 2 robberies that took place in a short period of time that kind of coincided with each other. So it was pretty substantial.
Okay. And what about burglary?
That's what they were from.
That's where they were from? Okay. And that never got transferred to the DA's office in those 3 months?
No.
Okay. You know that this case is about Mr. Marblestone, right? He's the defendant.
Correct.
Do you remember any evidence being stored in the evidence room for Mr. Marblestone's case?
I do not specifically in this case, but my practice was more of checking for case numbers, certain information, and just making sure that the evidence that I had matched what was on the tag. I didn't typically do a whole lot of research as to who it belonged to. I just made sure that the evidence itself was coinciding with the appropriate case number. That was such a whirlwind of a time and so much training and kind of teaching myself that I didn't have a lot of set protocols. It was kind of figuring out what worked and how do I make it better.
Book anything into evidence in January of 2026?
If those burglaries fell in, then possibly, yes. I know there was a few times that there was some evidence brought in, yes.
Okay, so if there was evidence missing that was collected during that time, would you know anything about that?
If there was something that didn't match the tag, that would be the only reason, yes.
Okay. Is there any reason why you would not have taken that evidence over to the DA's office?
In the Marblestone case? Or just in general?
Any evidence that you collected in January, what was the reason why you wouldn't have taken that over to the DA's office?
Truth, I did not feel comfortable setting foot in that office.
Right. And so where'd the evidence go?
In the evidence room.
Okay, so all of it, every single thing that was collected by the deputies in your office went into the evidence room? That's your
anything that was given to me, yes. What was the deputies had possession of, I cannot attest to, but anything that was put in a locker and handed to me, yes, it's in the evidence.
So you claim that you didn't have any other involvement in evidence collection, just standing by the evidence door and taking pieces from the deputies. That's all you did. Is that what you said?
They brought their evidence, secured it into a locker. I would remove it from the locker, make sure everything was there, and then it got moved to the evidence room as a whole.
Okay, so you're the only one with access to the evidence room. So if anyone had given you evidence and you put it in there, your testimony is that no one else would have had access to that.
There were times if I had questions and I would talk to the deputies, they would be with me escorted, but no one's ever been unattended in there without me.
So if things are not in that evidence room, your testimony is that you never got them. Is that
Correct.
right? So let's go back to Marblestone. You know that there was a bunch of items collected from Mr. Marblestone's property, the subject matter of a burglary, correct?
I know there was some evidence taken in burglary cases, but
So is it your claim today that you don't have any memory of any deputy with the Castillo County Sheriff's Office bringing in evidence in the Marblestone case from Mr. Marblestone's property? Was that
if it was related more to an event number or a case number, maybe, but him by name, I do not. I've never seen this before today, no.
Okay. I'm going to have you look, so I'm not going to admit it through this witness judge, but if I could have you look at the page that I think you stopped on with the handwriting, it's probably about 6 pages into that document that I handed you. And do you see where it says inventory receipt and return to search warrant?
I do.
Okay. Do you see where there's a list of 7 items there that are described?
Yes.
Okay. And do you see Deputy Roland Riley's name at the bottom of that with the date of November 11th, 2025?
I do.
Okay. Let me just make sure that I want to make clear what your testimony is. Did you ever recover from a deputy in the Castillo County Sheriff's Office any of the items that are listed on this list, the 7 items?
I did not.
You did not. Okay. Any idea where these items went?
Unless it comes to me, that's really the only part of the process I'm involved in.
When you left employment with the Sheriff's Office, how many items were in the evidence room?
There was quite a few.
There was how many?
I don't know.
Was there more than 2?
Yes.
Was there more than 10?
Yes.
Okay. Was there more than 50?
I don't think so.
Okay. So between 10 and 50?
Ish.
I'm asking you whether or not there was a document that you created and kept.
No, I did not.
Sure. Let me finish. To make sure that you had a list of everything that was supposed to be in that evidence room. Did you keep such a list?
No, I did not.
Okay. And so when you left employment, do you know what was in that evidence room?
Ish.
There
was a lot of like home items that, I mean, I guess on an evidentiary basis didn't necessarily stand out. It was like spoons and things like that, but not anything substantial.
And certainly nothing that was Kim Wisdom's, right?
No.
No. Who else had access to that file cabinet?
Whoever's been in my office since I left.
Judge, the concerns that led us to call the witnesses that we called and call the witnesses that we can still continue to need to call is as follows. Defense counsel raised a motion regarding the constitutionality of the search. The challenge here is that there is no evidence that anyone has access to at the end of the presentation of our evidence, I believe that we are not going to be able to meet our burden with respect to these constitutional issues. And Ms. Wisdom's already been informed of that. We cannot go forward with this case because, frankly, even if the court were to find that the sheriff's office acted within Mr. Marblestone's constitutional rights, I don't have any evidence to present at a jury trial. And I'm going to have to explain with the testimony of former sheriffs, where is the physical evidence that you collected from Mr. Marblestone's house? And I don't have it. And so I want to know where the evidence is that you took from Mr. Marblestone pursuant to this search warrant that's been challenged by defense. And so to the extent that I'm telling you right now that I don't think anything that the sheriff is going to say, anything that former Deputy Marufo is going to say is going to be able to get us there to meet our burden of whether or not Mr. Marblestone's constitutional rights were violated. And we've already talked about this with Ms. Wisdom, but I just cannot proceed with this case because I have some serious concerns about where are the things that were collected from Mr. Marblestone's property, and no one's been able to give me an answer to that.
So I think, we've submitted Defense Exhibit A, which I think actually gets to the specific heart of the issue. And what's raised here is voluntariness. It's not raised as a custodial Miranda issue. The videos that are in the possession of the court, I think, are sufficient for the court to determine the issue of voluntariness in this case. The tactics used to interview Mr. Marblestone in this case are shocking and disturbing, and they have been directly rejected by the Colorado Supreme Court in the case cited in that case, People v. Medina, which is a case where they found that law enforcement's threat to send a defendant's child to DSS custody rendered the rest of their interview involuntary. In the videos that have been submitted to the court will see that Deputy Riley threatened almost immediately in speaking to Mr. Marblestone that he would need to speak to them and to be truthful with them, or his wife would be arrested. This is occurring at 3:00 a.m. out on the flats. Mr. Marblestone had already told the deputies that he had 3 children at home, so it's tantamount to a threat basically to leave children alone on the flats at 3 a.m. And again, in those videos, you'll see them threatening him with putting his children in DSS custody multiple times. I think that the only thing that people could cite to that would render those interviews voluntary was the admission of a Miranda warning, but every other factor that is found in cases like People v. Jennings on voluntariness in the state of Colorado are met, that this was an involuntary interview. So we'd essentially be leaning on those exhibits that have been submitted to the court. And I think that they're, sufficient to find that the prosecution couldn't meet its burden to find the interview of Mr. Marblestone involuntary. That then raises this issue of his statements being used in the search warrant that was submitted to Judge Sullivan and signed. If those statements are to be found involuntary, I cited case law that they would be excised essentially from the probable cause statement. That's consistent with Colorado law on searchment, that if there's illegally obtained evidence as part of the 4 corners of a probable cause affidavit, the determination has to be made essentially with that blacked out or gone from the search warrant. And the search warrant's already extraordinarily thin and weak on the 4 corners of this case. So it's my contention that I think the people are saying that, and I appreciate that from that they can't meet their burden to show this was a voluntary interview. And I think if they do that, that means that portion is excised from the search warrant. And I think it's obviously the defense's position that without that statement, this search warrant does not establish probable cause, and the search, again, wherever the items are from, whatever happened to them, should be suppressed because it wasn't pursuant to a lawful search warrant.
Do the people have any evidence they're intending to introduce regarding the statements? Or are you conceding that the conversation with Mr. Marblestone was involved?
Judge, the only thing, and I intend to call Deputy Riley next. I apologize to the court for the lengthy time for the motions hearing. I think that his body cam goes to the crux of why we're here, to the crux of Mr. Ho's motion for both of his motions, actually. But to be honest, I am not contesting his motion. I'm not. I agree that the tactics used by Deputy Riley are grossly unjust, and it's not the way things should have been done. That's just the simplest way I can put it, Judge. So I do not contest what is there, what was done. I cannot defend the actions of what transpired on November 2nd and 3rd on that morning. I can't defend it. I just can't.
All right. Based on the fact that the state is not contesting the motions filed by Mr. Marblestone, they will be granted. The motion to suppress his statements will be granted. However, I do need to take those statements out of the probable cause affidavit, and actually I don't, because the people are not contesting that motion. So both of his motions will be granted. Well, I can appreciate the very difficult position that not only the state is in, but the Wisdom family is in. I have very few hours for all of the cases in Castillo County. And I can appreciate very much that you want to make the point that this evidence has been lost. But the fact of the matter is it does not change things. The number of hours we sit in here does not make the evidence suddenly appear. And frankly, the testimony that I have received is that the people who know that where that evidence is are also people who are charged with crimes and therefore have a Fifth Amendment right to remain silent and not answer questions lest they be charged with further acts of official misconduct. And so I can appreciate the position of the state. I think your point has been made, and you have made a clear record that you don't know where the evidence is. And it was the responsibility of the Castillo County Sheriff's Department to maintain that evidence and to know where that evidence is and deliver it to the state, to the district attorney's office when required. And you've made it quite clear that that is not the case. So I'm declining to continue this motions hearing any further. Mr. Marblestone's motions will be granted, and the people can make the decision whether or not they want to continue with the case.
I think, Judge, at this time, I think we cannot go forward with it. I do note that this is not a VRA case. Ms. Wisdom has been here. She's been here the whole time. And I know I can relate to the court her position on the dismissal. I think that she understands, and she can correct me here if I'm wrong, but she's extremely disappointed in the outcome, and she's still missing some of her stuff. And I think that really weighs heavily on her. So just with respect to the Victims' Rights Act, although this case is not a Victims' Rights Act, I wanted to make sure that her position was known.
So
we are dismissing the case, Judge.
Mr. Hogue, I presume there's not an objection?
Of course not, Your Honor. There's no objection for the defense.